Hey, what's going on, ladies and gents? So Ecuador defeated Qatar 2-0 in the World Cup opener. And, I did keep up with the news on Twitter that apparently, a lot of people, or there was a report that came out that said that apparently, I guess a few Ecuadorian players on the national team were bribed like 7.5 million each or some stuff like that to basically, I guess, throw the game. But I guess you could say that, at least me personally, I find it very hard to believe in the report, because a lot of people on Twitter were already saying, that the World Cup is rigged, that it's corrupt and all that stuff. And let me tell you one thing here, I knew long and before the 2022 World Cup that the World Cup has always been a very shady, a very corrupt, a very biased, and a very a very rigged sport. And I'm gonna give you people one good example that exactly proves my point, So let's go back to the 2018 FIFA World Cup matchup between Serbia and Switzerland, and the thing about that game right there is that that game proved my point why the World Cup is such a very corrupt, shady, and a very rigged sport. Because if you guys remember in that game, if you watched that game, there was a part in that game when Mitrovic was dragged down by two defenders by two defenders of the opposing team. He was dragged to the ground in the penalty box. Like literally, it felt like I was watching a WWE match. But I guess you could say that matchup was better than any WWE match I've tuned into in the last possibly 10 years and all that stuff. So, Mitrovic obviously was dragged to the ground and he wasn't given a penalty. Like Serbia weren't awarded a penalty right there when VAR should have been clearly used right there. And, basically that game proved my exact point why the World Cup has always been a very rigged, a very shady, and a very corrupt sport. Because trust me, as an old school football fan, I knew long and before what the World Cup truly is about. And listen, man, regardless of what people say, FIFA will always get their way. FIFA, let's be honest, they are a a multi-billion-dollar organization. So FIFA, they will always have their way, whether people like it or not. It's just the world we live in. And obviously in this game right here, Ecuador, they were obviously denied a goal right there in the first opening of the game because of VAR, and obviously the goal should have been given. But today, let's just say here that Ecuador, they did very well in this game, and Qatar, they really had no chance against Ecuador at all today. Qatar's football team, they just got outperformed today by Ecuador. And Ecuador, man, I liked what I saw from him today. I mean, Ecuador, man, gotta give him props. They performed exceptionally well today, and it's going to be interesting if Ecuador can make it out of this group stage here, because you look at Ecuador, man, they got off to the hottest start so far at the World Cup, and I mean, today, Ecuador's performance was just impressive as heck. Like, I was really impressed with Ecuador's performance today and all that stuff. But, yeah, man, obviously going back to what I said, FIFA will always have their way, whether people like it or not. It's just the world we live in. And going back to that Serbia-Switzerland game, I knew long and before that the World Cup was all what the World Cup was truly about. So, yeah, I can't really say I was surprised right there. But yeah, man, what a start to this World Cup so far. I guess the matchup was pretty entertaining, I guess, for the most part. But whether or not the report about, Ecuadorian players being bribed, like, what, $7.5 million or something, part of me kind of feels like it's hard to really believe that that would actually happen at the World Cup. But I guess, anything can happen at the World Cup here and all that stuff. But yeah, just have to come on here and talk about this game here. Qatar, like I said before, man, Ecuador just proved to be the better team today, and Qatar, they lost. I think Qatar didn't perform very well at all today against Ecuador, if I'm being honest here. But Ecuador, man, so far, they got their first W of the World Cup. So, yeah, guys, that's the video here. Like, comment, subscribe, and see ya.